provide you with the lowest per GB rates, night or day. SLT 4G, driving you ever forward.
Making headlines for First at 9. Another drop. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and the Lanka Indian Oil Company reduced fuel prices from midnight. Trouble brewing. 2 police constables killed in Batticaloa. Revenge on police for taking down LTTE decorations suspected. Parliamentary matters. The motion barring all cabinet, state and deputy ministers as well as their personal staff from handling state funds passed in the House. Questions, however, remain over who is in power.
The Parliament website that still to date identifies Honourable Mahinda Rajapaksa as the Prime Minister.
Nearing the end. UNP's deputy leader is buoyed by talks between the President and the Speaker.
From all indications, it seems that there is light at the end of this dark tunnel.
Hard path to glory. Sri Lanka wins the ICC Deaf Cricket World Cup.
බයික් එකක් ගත්තොත් ෆෝන් එකක්. ඔව්, තෝරාගත් යමහා බයික් මාදිලි සඳහා රුපියල් 40000ක් දක්වා වටිනා ස්මාර්ට් ෆෝන් එකක් නොමිලේ. ඉක්මන් කරන්න නොවැම්බර් 30 දක්වා පමණයි. කොන්දේසි සහිතයි. අමතන්න 0117 609 AMW ඉතින් පමණයි.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamke Kanayaka. Now let's start you off with your local stories. Minister of Petroleum Resources Development, Gamini Lokuge, announced today that fuel prices of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation will be reduced by 5 rupees with effect from midnight. This is the third time the interim government reduced fuel prices within the last month. Following the move, the Lanka Indian Oil Company also put their prices down with effect from midnight. Oil prices in the international market, however, increased yesterday after the US benchmark slid below $50 a barrel following reports Russia could join a production cut at next month's OPEC meeting.
The government has decided to reduce the prices of a litre of petrol 92 octane, 95 octane, Lanka Auto Diesel and Super Diesel by 5 rupees sold at Ceylon Petroleum Corporation fuel stations.
Petrol 92 octane.
92 octane petrol, which was at 140 rupees, is now at 135 rupees. Octane 95, which was at 164 rupees, is now at 159 rupees. Auto diesel is reduced by 106 rupees per litre and super diesel is reduced to 131 rupees per litre. The prices are in effect from midnight tonight. We have requested the IOC to reduce their prices as well.
This, however, is the third time that fuel prices were reduced since the interim government was established on the 26th of October. The price of octane 92 petrol was reduced by 10 rupees per litre, while the price of auto diesel was reduced by 7 rupees on 1st of November. Meanwhile, prices of octane 92 petrol, octane 95 petrol, auto diesel and super diesel were reduced by a further 5 rupees per litre on the 15th. In the meantime, Lanka Indian Oil Company has also revised prices of its products. Accordingly, the prices of Lanka Auto Diesel, Lanka Petrol 92, Super Diesel Euro 4 and Extra Premium 95 Petrol Euro 4 are reduced by 5 rupees per litre. Just as the CPETCO price revision, LIOC fuel price revision also comes into effect from midnight today. LIOC, however, states that the price cuts are in place, even though company is incurring huge losses on sale of auto fuels. This reduction of fuel prices comes in a backdrop where oil prices gained in the international market yesterday after the US benchmark slid below $50 a barrel following reports Russia could join a production cut at next month's OPEC meeting. The gains in petroleum prices came on a mixed day for global stocks as traders worldwide weighed Federal Reserve comments that were widely seen as dovish on monetary policy. Steady petroleum supply and a weakening global economic outlook have weighed on oil prices since early October, pushing US benchmark West Texas Intermediate below $50 a barrel for the first time in more than a year. But oil prices reversed following reports that Russia could join Saudi Arabia and other producers in cutting output at a December 6 Vienna meeting to defend prices.
A special team consisting of the Inspector General of Police, a senior DIG of the Criminal Investigation Department and the police media spokesperson today arrived in Batticaloa to probe the murder of 2 policemen. According to police, 2 officers who were on duty at a checkpoint which comes under Vaunathivu police station were found dead at around 6 this morning. In the meantime, the 2 dead police constables are posthumously promoted to the rank of sergeant on IGP's orders.
The 2 police constables attached to the Vaunathivu police station reported for duty at the checkpoint, which is approximately 800 meters away from the police station, at around 6 last evening. 2 other policemen who reported for duty at the checkpoint at around 6 in the morning today saw the bodies of the 2 constables. Investigations conducted by Vaunathivu police and several other stations revealed the duo was killed between 3 and 4 this morning. 35-year-old Constable Niroshan Indika Prasanna, who is a resident in Gaul, and 28-year-old Constable Ganesh Dinesh, a resident of Kalmune, are the victims of the incident. It is reported that Constable Ganesh Dinesh was shot in the head with a T-56 firearm, while the other's throat was slit. Investigations have revealed that he had wrestled before his throat being slit, and the suspect have taken the revolvers of the 2 police constables. Investigations are also exploring whether this was an act of revenge on the police. Police who took measures to remove decorations of the Pandiyadi LTTE cemetery, which was done in line with the Mahavirar celebrations recently. Batticaloa magistrate conducted the judicial investigation this morning, while the judicial medical officer also inspected the scene of the crime. The bodies of the 2 constables are currently at the Batticaloa hospital. In the meantime, the Inspector General of Police dispatched a team of police officers, led a superintendent of police at the CID to conduct an investigation on the incident. IGP Pujit Jayasundara also arrived in Batticaloa this afternoon with senior DIG of the CID and the police spokesperson.
We suspect that this was done between 1 and 6 this morning because a special investigation was conducted in this area last night. We deployed 1 more police officer for this checkpoint until 1 in the morning, and he left at 1. By the looks of things, these 2 officers are shot and they also have lacerations. However, we can come to a conclusion only after the post-mortem is released tonight.
No arrests have been made over the incident so far. Meanwhile, the issue was taken up in the parliament during today's session.
Such a situation never arose during our tenure when Ranjit Madduma Bandara was the minister. But when the Awa group lit crackers in the north, the so-called patriots, including Uday Gammampila and Vimal Veeravansa, shouted that the terrorists are back. None of them speak now. The intervention of the president is needed for this because this is a serious situation.
And unfortunately, this incident happened at early hours this morning. 4 policemen were shot at. 2 have succumbed to their injuries. And we also, from the information that we ourselves have serious suspicions over these persons who were rejuvenated after the events of 26th of October last month. Similarly, another person also seems emboldened now. The EPDP cadres have suddenly come out of the woodwork in Jaffna. There was an attack last week, not on our party, but on another party members of a Pradesh Sabha by the EPDP cadres. And somebody who calls himself a minister now is going round saying, I have returned. That is to terrorize the people. I would urge the Speaker to take appropriate action in this regard.
A policeman was never killed during the past 3.5 years. When we were in power, the opposition led by Mahinda Rajapaksa continuously accused us of an Awa group. Such an incident never took place at the hands of the Awa group during our tenure. Now turning our attention to the political aspects concerning the Parliament, the motion barring all Cabinet, State and Deputy Ministers as well as their personal staff from using state funds passed with 122 votes in favour today. It was a similar scenario on the government side today as witnessed on previous occasions since they continued their boycott of the parliamentary sessions in protest of the Speaker's conduct. Following the conclusion of the vote, the Speaker announced that the Parliament will be reconvened at 10:30 a.m. on the 5th of next month.
Although party leaders' meetings chaired by the Speaker were held in previous days to decide the agenda of the Parliament, no such meeting was held today. Prior to the session, a meeting of government MPs presided over by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was held at the parliamentary complex.
The question of a majority will only arise when there is a motion to be passed or during a vote of no confidence. Both circumstances are yet to arise. If we lose in such circumstances, we will accept the defeat and act accordingly. There is no necessity. The Speaker is not ready to accept anything. He is conducting the Parliament according to his own law of the jungle.
MPs of the United National Front also convened a meeting under the patronage of the leader of the UNP, Ranil Wickremesinghe. We are in the last stages of our battle. This will either end peacefully within these 2 days, or we will take to streets and achieve the victory of the people. We would also like to request the President to resolve this matter immediately. The parliamentary session began today without a single member of the government present in the chamber. MP Partali Champika Ranawaka tabled a motion barring all cabinet ministers, state ministers, deputy ministers and their personal staff from using state funds. Parliamentarian Ranjit Madhuma Bandara seconded the motion.
This is an occasion, perhaps for the very first time, Parliament is actually exercising the total control that it is supposed to have over the public finances of the country. Yesterday's and today's motions before the House are exercising a little of those powers, bringing to the notice of those responsible and to the country of what the Parliament can do. And if they don't heed what the Parliament is doing as a token of a reminder, then the Parliament can actually shut down government. I want to urge the persons responsible, particularly the President and others who still claim illegally to be Prime Minister, Minister, State Ministers, Deputy Ministers, etc., that they must stop that. They must give that up. I would also urge, Mr. Speaker, you to take appropriate steps with regard to how the media is treating this. Even after your pronouncement from the chair on the 15th of November that there is no Prime Minister, there are no ministers, no cabinet, still the media are describing various people as the Prime Minister, ministers, etc. The issue of the Parliament website that still to date identifies Honourable Mahinda Rajapaksa as the Prime Minister. I mean, if the Parliament does not respect what the Parliament has done, then it is impossible to call others to account. It is the Speaker who has to be satisfied as to whether a particular motion was carried in Parliament or not the President.
Thereafter, a vote was called to seek the consensus on the motion, and none of the members of the governing party participated in the voting process since they boycotted today's session. Accordingly, the motion passed with 122 votes in favour.
I would like to mention that by using the electronic system, the motion passed with 122 votes in favour.
100 MPs representing the UNP, 13 parliamentarians representing the TNA and 6 members of the JVP as well as 3 UPFA members who pledged support to the opposition voted in favour of the proposal. UNP parliamentarian Sujiva Senasinghe, however, did not participate in today's session.
Parliamentarian and Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Sajith Premadasa, believes that there is light at the end of the tunnel with regards to the current political impasse in Sri Lanka. Addressing media following today's parliamentary session, MP Premadasa said that discussions between the President and the Speaker following the vote in Parliament yesterday proved to be fruitful.
The repercussions and the consequences of this political, constitutional conspiracy and debacle is quite apparent today itself. The IMF has refused to release the next tranche, which will have a direct impact on fiscal matters, on how to cater to the budget deficit issues. The United States have suspended the immense amount of funds that they had planned to provide Sri Lanka through the Millennium Challenge account. Japan has put a total full stop to the billion-dollar railway program. Our country and our people deserve better.
The longer this issue drags, the bigger its impact going to be on the country. So, do we see a solution any soon?
Of course. I think all those who are responsible for this fiasco should understand the country reality. I think the major actors, including His Excellency the President, should take a step back no one should be persuaded by individual egotistical tendencies. People are only necessary when the rulers and the politicians want to get elected. But those who are elected should keep in mind that we are only temporary trustees of this country. A mere election victory does not mean that we are provided with a freehold deed and access to every resource, every wealth which can be utilized by the politicians.
Do you think the President will take a step back? Because up to the very moment he is very adamant on his statement saying that he doesn't want Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe as the Prime Minister of this country.
Well, consequent to the vote taken yesterday, the Honourable Speaker has had a fruitful discussion with His Excellency the President. And from all indications, it seems that there is light at the end of this dark tunnel.
Moving on with other political stories, Minister of Highways and Road Development S.B. Disanayake believes that Speaker Karu Jayasuriya is intent on becoming the next common candidate in the presidential election. Addressing a media briefing held at the parliamentary complex today, the minister charged that it is clear the Speaker is partial to the United National Party. The Speaker is holding a meeting of the UNP, JVP and the TNA in the chamber at the moment. This meeting, conducted in line with the will of Karu Jayasuriya, is unconstitutional and against standing orders. Karunaratne Jayasuriya wants to be the next common candidate for the presidential election. We can clearly see that he is working for the UNP. If the court wants us to go for an election, we will do that. The UNP's numbers will reduce to 65. If the court is against elections, we become the government and we continue what we've been doing. No one can play with a government appointed by the president. Things like taxation can't be done through a motion. It should be done by an act. Only a minister can bring that act to parliament. Even a minister can bring it only after the cabinet approval. This issue is taken up in court at present and dates are fixed. We are ready to accept whatever the decision given by the court. Although they say the expenditure of the Prime Minister is suspended, it has not happened. The Prime Minister's office is functioning and all the ministries are functioning as well. The TNA announced that they support the UNP irrespective of the mandate of the people of the North. Their main intention is to bring the federal constitution. Now, the SLPP holds similar views to that of what you just saw, since the UPFA parliamentarian Kanchana Wijesekara says if the Speaker brings in a motion to Parliament to remove Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in a proper procedural way, they are willing to help. But if it is happening in an unconstitutional manner, they will have to boycott the presence of the Speaker and Parliament sittings in the future as well. The parliamentarian made the remarks while addressing media in Colombo today.
The motion that was brought to the parliament yesterday by the opposition party regarding the expenditures of the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister's office, we as the government feel it's an illegal motion that was brought into parliament. If such a financial bill is to be moved in the parliament, first it has to go through the finance minister. Finance minister at this point is His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, and if there is any amendments or changes need to be done to the existing financial bill that was presented to Parliament by the former Finance Minister Mangala Samaraweera, it has to come through the current Finance Minister, or if at all, if any changes need to be done in this motion, it has to be done through the previous financial bill. And also we would like to state regarding the letter that was issued by the TNA stating that they are ready to support a UNF government or a government compromising of a UNF leader. We are ready if the Speaker brings in a motion in a proper procedural way to the Parliament to remove the existing Prime Minister or the government. But if it is brought in an unconstitutional manner or an illegal manner into this parliament, we will have to boycott the presence of the Speaker and the parliament sittings in the future as well. The Speaker has announced that there is no Prime Minister or a governing side within the parliament. So to bring a motion itself to a Prime Minister and to a governing side is illegal itself. We believe the Speaker has to first make amendments to the statement that he originally made on the 14th and the 15th and 16th of this month. He has to go back on those words and he has to accept that there is a government. He has to accept that there is a cabinet of ministers. Then he can bring in any motion that the standing orders allow him to do so. And also we would like to thank the Speaker for finally, after a month's time, accepting the fact that the Executive President has the right to appoint a Prime Minister. That is why we saw the Speaker making an effort for the first time in the last 4 weeks to go and meet up with the President to come to some sort of a solution.
Now, President Maithripala Sirisena said that time has come to fight against those who conduct themselves according to agendas of the international community. The 200th anniversary celebration of the Uwavellassa rebellion took place at the BMRCH today under the patronage of the head of state. Speaking at the function, the head of state said, quote, "Sinhalese are born fighters and we have to fight against those politicians who follow the agendas of the international community. We should be the reason of the rise of our new generation," unquote.
විදේශකයින්ට පන්දම් මල්ලන විදේශකයින් පස්සේ යන විදේශීන්ගේ න්‍යාය පත්‍රවලට වැඩ කරන විදේශීය චින්තනයන් කරේ තියාගෙන මේ රට නැවතත් ඩොයිල්ලා කෙසේ වෙතත් ඩොයිල්ලාගේ ක්‍රමය මේ රටේ ඇති කරනවා.
Now, the attorney representing Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa requested the Court of Appeal to dismiss the petition filed against him and his cabinet of ministers. 122 parliamentarians of the UNP, JUP and the Tamil National Alliance filed a writ of quo warranto in the Court of Appeal challenging on what authority Mahinda Rajapaksa continues to hold the premiership. It was taken up today before a two-member judge bench comprising of Justices Preeti Padman Surasena and Arjuna Obesekara. President's counsel K. Kangeeswaran, who appeared on behalf of the petitioner, said that Mahinda Rajapaksa and his cabinet of ministers are legally not competent to hold their positions when they were defeated by a motion of no confidence in Parliament. The President's counsel also pointed out that according to the Parliamentary Privileges Act, the court has not been vested with the power to decide whether the passing of the motion was formally conducted or not. President's counsel Gamini Marapana, appearing on behalf of the respondent, said that the no confidence motion referred to by the petitioners had not been formally passed. President's counsel Marapana also pointed out that such a motion cannot be passed when a dissolution of Parliament is in effect due to the legality of the Parliament being dissolved is currently under adjudication. He requested the Supreme Court not to consider the petition. Accordingly, Attorney at Law Marapana requested the court to dismiss the petition. Now, Director General of the Institute of National Security Studies, Asanga Begunasekara, justifies the President's decision to change the Prime Minister. Speaking at a media briefing recently, he said that selling off national assets and clashes within the Cabinet pushed the President to change the government.
A lot of you think that this issue that we are having right now is an internal issue. I argue it is an external issue. Now, this instability should not continue, and let the people decide of this country, because democracy belongs to the people, and let them vote. And we can't have the house divided like this. Because in democracy, you need both sides and go for elections, because you can't sustain like this. Now, in terms of instability and external affairs, you have to be extremely careful. The Asian continent, you have two powers rising at the same time. You have China and India. We are at crossroads, and you have to decide and what is the path we are going to take. President Sirisena is correct in his decision, because he cannot continue this cabinet like this. For the last 6 months, if you take the cabinet minutes and see how they have been fighting. And it is a joke sometimes, because one person is trying to give strategic assets. In a bipartisan government, you have two parties. So two parties need to work together, and they should have some decency to work together. If you don't have it, and if you're going to sell your national, your soil basically, then obviously you won't have a bipartisan functioning. So when the bipartisan wasn't functioning, President Sirisena has to take that decision.
The opposition members have filed a writ application in the Court of Appeal for a writ of quo warranto, questioning the office of the Prime Minister and the rest of the Cabinet of Ministers. Now, if they are going to move the resolution on funds, first of all, under the Constitution, only a minister of the government can move a resolution of finance in Parliament. Secondly, if they are going to move this resolution in Parliament, then they have to debate on the fact whether the Prime Minister is still holding his office as a Prime Minister. Now, this is a matter now pending before the Court of Appeal. Under the standing orders, clearly provides you cannot touch a matter in Parliament which is pending or which is subject to adjudication in the court. The legislature is going to have a conflict with the judiciary as well.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, The Derana 24/7.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, Secretary General of the National Economic Council, Professor Lalit Samarakon, says that the expected reduction in oil prices from Iran might not be reflected in Sri Lankan fuel prices. Speaking in a forum held in Colombo under the theme Sri Lanka's Economic Challenges in the year 2019, he said that slow growth in the country's economy will bar fuel price reduction.
In the futures market, the Brent oil prices have declined by 12%. So far this year. If you look at very recent, obviously we know the oil price decline has been quite tremendous in the recent past. From early October, when the barrel of oil was approximately $86, now it has, as of this morning, come down to 59. To that extent, the declaration or the decline of the oil price is good news for a country like Sri Lanka. On the other hand, why is oil price declining? If the growth is going to be slowing down, there would be less demand for energy and oil. Obviously, that is a factor. Then there are other country-related factors, such as obviously the expected reduction in oil that's coming out of Iran has not really had much impact in terms of the oil prices, at least, increase in the oil prices. That's what you would expect because of the other effects. Increase in production by other countries like Saudi Arabia, reluctance to cut oil, but that could change. The OPEC is meeting. It is possible that in December the OPEC might decide to reduce the production. So oil prices might have bottomed. That's kind of what I am saying. In the recent weeks, it seems like prices have bottomed and there's slight upturn going forward, but the big story is the prices have come down tremendously, and part of the reason is that this expectation that the world is sort of entering a period of slow growth.
And now to bring you a market update, the all share price index rose at 0.44% to 6,019.33 today, with the turnover crossing 1.4 billion rupees. Total foreign sales accounted for 53.9% of the turnover. With that, let's take a look at how the market performed during this week.
During the week, the ASPI gained 1.5%, mainly due to price gains in counters such as John Kills Holdings, Commercial Bank and Nestle Lanka. Similarly, the S&P SL20 increased by 2.4%. Resultantly, the ASPI and the S&P SL20 recorded monthly gains of 1.1% and 3.1% respectively during the month of November. Furthermore, foreigners remained active for the week, closing as net sellers, where foreign sales accounted for 47% of the total weekly turnover. A net foreign outflow of nearly 796 million rupees was recorded for the week.
Time to look at news from around the world. Now, Kiev has decided to permit, or not to permit rather, Russian men falling into the age group of 16 to 60 into Ukraine. It is their latest response to Russia's seizure of 3 Ukrainian naval vessels and 24 members of crew on Sunday, which sparked fears of a Russian invasion. Those fears were stoked further when Moscow deployed a new battalion of missile systems in Crimea.
Russia deployed a new battalion of advanced S-400 surface-to-air missile system in Crimea, its fourth such battalion yesterday. The deployed missiles are said to be capable of securing airspace regardless of the target's altitude and speed. The missile system could hit the targets up to 30 kilometers high with speeds up to 2,700 kilometers per hour. The new deployment in Crimea follows Russia's seizure of 3 Ukrainian Navy vessels off the coast of the peninsula on Sunday. In its latest response to that incident, Ukraine has decided not to allow Russian men aged 16 to 60 into the country following the imposition of martial law. An exception would be made for humanitarian cases such as those traveling to funerals. Russia says it is not planning retaliatory measures. Martial law has been imposed in 10 Ukrainian regions until the 26th of December. Ukraine fears a Russian invasion after Russian forces seized 3 Ukrainian vessels and 24 sailors in the Black Sea. Ukraine said the incident was a flagrant violation of international law, while Russia says the vessels violated its territorial waters.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Time for sports, and it is cricket. Sri Lanka won the Deaf Cricket World Championship today after beating India by 36 runs during the finals of the Deaf ICC T20 World Cup hosted by India. Sri Lanka scored 145 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in their allotted 20 overs. In reply, India could only muster 109 runs as they were bowled out within 17.5 overs.
Very sure what he wanted to do. His fielders and his batsmen have backed him up. That's what you want to see. There was urgency in their fielding. There was urgency when they were running between the wickets.
And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Before we go, we're going to take you to Denver because it's the good story. In Denver, you meet Kusha Montoya, who has first-hand experience on drug addiction and saved herself through a peer navigator program at the public library. She comes back to help others of the same state to come out of their situation. Through this program, she offers a hand to homeless and drug victims to restore their lives. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.